Hello, everyone, and welcome back to your favorite podcast. It's called Stop the Internet Podcast. I'm Kelee.
I'm Erin.
I was just listening to Spooky Stories podcasts, and I'm feeling quite on edge right now. So I need to talk about annoying people and rant to get me back into my normal headspace.
I'm on edge right now, too, because I just was watching the new Goosebumps series on Disney. And I do want to say, as an avid R.L. Stine Goosebumps child who had and read every book and then loved the show when it was on like however many years ago, Disney did it justice.
Really?
They did a good job. I really do like what they put together.
It's still for kids?
I think so. I mean, it's scary for kids. It's definitely scary for kids. It's good, though. It's like nostalgic for me. Like, I'm not going to be like, oh my God, this is the best show. I love watching this. I watched it because it was nostalgic and I wanted to see. And they did a good job like spewing it together.
Spewing it together?
I mean, some of it is interesting because it's like they throw in little aspects of each book. Like,
so is it still episodes based off of books?
No, it's one long storyline. It's long story. Like, I think they wrote, that's what I'm saying. They kind of like threw this story together, but each episode, like in the first episode, like the say cheese and die, like the camera is in it. They take a picture.
Wow.
And the camera's in it. Next episode, there's like the cuckoo clock of doom. Then there's like the haunted mask. Like these little things are in each episode, but it's still one long story.
That's interesting.
It is good. If you were like an R.L. Stine stan as a child, I say watch it. It was good.
Wow. Okay. Maybe I will.
It was good. So, but yeah, I'm on edge from that right now.
Yeah, you're a Disney stan. We're like borderline Disney adults. Not really.
I feel like I'm not a Disney. Like, I don't watch Disney. Like, I'm watching Goosebumps. That's not
okay, true. I feel like you're always watching Disney Plus, especially this time of year, though.
Okay, this time of year, yes. I live by Halloween Town this time of year, yes.
Fair.
But otherwise, I wouldn't really say I spend too much of my life on Disney.
Yeah.
This time of year, yes. I live off Halloween Town. I did watch Hocus Pocus, but otherwise...
I've been watching this guy on TikTok that opens Disney pins, like mystery Disney pins, and it's like my guilty pleasure now. I don't know why. It's so satisfying to watch him. I also wonder how much money he spends because Disney merch is not cheap, but he's always at the parks. I guess he has like an annual membership, but he puts together these like pin sets. So I guess Disney sells these mystery pins. You buy the box and you don't know what's in it. And then you try to put together the set, but some of them have like 8 to 10 pins in it. So he's just buying like 15 boxes and then a bunch of them are duplicates. I'm like, first of all,
so you trade them.
Okay, big money. Yeah, sometimes he trades, but sometimes he does challenges with himself where he's like, I'm not going to trade. I'm going to get all of them, buying them. And sometimes he'll do like, he buys each box at a different location. So every store in the park, he buys one box in there until he completes the set. It's so interesting. I don't know why it's so entertaining.
It feels like that's not the correct like strategy.
Well, it's more to do challenges because he's done ones where he just buys like 10 boxes right there and then he trades to get the ones, whatever, the duplicates. But then he'll do these challenges where he's like, I'm doing one box each store, or like, I don't know. I just got into it, so I don't know all the rules yet, but it's very entertaining. Now he gets like Disney merch from Disney Plus, and I think he got one from something like Halloween-y. I forgot. That would be such a fun brand. Like, imagine you just live near an amusement park and you buy a season pass every year, annual pass, and your whole brand is just going to this amusement park and having fun and like buying the food and doing like what I ate at like whatever amusement park today. Like, that is such a fun brand.
Yeah.
I wish there was one near here. We could do Hershey Park. We don't live anywhere close enough that we could go somewhere every single day.
Or like every weekend even. Yeah, no.
I follow another girl that goes to Disney World like actually almost every day.
What if we started like a Philadelphia brand pin collecting sets and like you go into all these like Philly gift shops and like there's like a Liberty Bell set or like there's like a historical set, there's like a sports set, current monument set, there's like a Rocky set, and it's like all the places Rocky brand too.
We could. I do wonder what is the pin traders community looking like these days? And are there a lot of pin traders in Philadelphia that would be looking to complete these sets? I feel like Disney adults, you could make almost any product.
Right. You can like shoelaces.
Right. And they probably do.
Yeah.
And there probably is like mystery sets of shoelaces that you can buy. I do think that's a good idea. Actually, maybe we shouldn't post this. We should just start the company before someone steals it. We could do it.
People.
We could try it. I'm down for it.
Okay. We'll find something to create.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so today we're doing an episode about single friends and couple friends. Actually, not even couple friends. Basically, we're going to talk about all the annoying things that single people have to deal with when all of their friends are in a relationship, and the expectations that people that are in relationships have and get away with.
Facts.
And the fact that single people can basically never ask for anything. And we might come off as bitter. And you know what? Sometimes we are bitter.
Yeah. But I think this is interesting because right here we have a long-term relationship perspective and a single person perspective. So we can play off of each other and, you know. Yeah. But I also come from a perspective where I was in an extremely long-term relationship. So I feel like I do give like rational on each side.
Yeah. And I was going to say, while you were in that relationship, I was single for most of that time.
Yeah.
So we kind of like flip-flopped. Like we
did.
We both have a lot of experience. Well, I guess I don't. You were in a 5-year relationship. I never had a relationship that long, but we do have experience in both.
Yeah.
And I feel like we have a lot of, like I was single for so many years.
Yeah.
And I mean, we both were obviously in life. Like
let me
at
also
times.
let me also preface this entire discussion with, and I think you could state the same. I am not you need to be in a relationship to be happy person or like a bitter single person, but I'm also not like vice versa. Like I'm not like, oh, I hate relationships, I need to be single. Like I am, when I am in a relationship, I'm a happy, truly like proud to be in a relationship person. And when I'm single, I am truly happy. Like I'm truly happy working on myself and my career and not focusing my time on someone else. Like I genuinely love my life with or without another person. So I don't want anything I say to be like, oh, she's just the salty single friend, or anything I say from when I was in a relationship to sound like I was a bitter relationship person either. Like I'm truly happy with both perspectives.
Yeah.
This conversation is just like, we need to talk about it.
No, I agree. And Rebecca and I have been talking about that concept a lot recently. Like when you are single as an adult in your like late 20s, people like don't believe you when you tell them that your number one goal in life is not to find a boyfriend.
Yeah.
And if you find a boyfriend, that's great. But every single day, you're not out there searching and hoping that one comes to you.
Right.
And maybe you go through a phase where you are longing for companionship and a relationship. But then you can also go through phases where you're not. And you're like, yeah, I don't care about that. I just want to hang out with my friends every weekend and go to different restaurants and not have to worry about who's texting me back or who I have to answer to or whatever.
Exactly.
Yeah, I agree. I do think that's a good disclaimer because there are so many people that jump to the like, well, you're just like mad about being or you're bitter. And it's like, well, sometimes you make me bitter, but.
Right. No. Yeah, no, exactly. Because it's like, okay, let's talk about my current situation then. I'm a happy single person who loves spending time with her single and in relationship friends. I adore like every one of my friends that's in a relationship and I support all of their relationships. But I also love getting to go out with Rebecca every single weekend, just the two of us. We don't have to entertain a man, like whatever. But I also love focusing on me. Like I've never, because I was in a relationship and was like codependent for so long, I never was like, okay, this is what I want to do in my life. I spent so many years thinking about what are we going to do with our lives? Where are we going to live? What do we want in life? And I am at a point where I'm almost 30 years old and I'm sitting down by myself looking at this like, what do I want in life? Where do I want to live in life? What career do I want? Where do I want to be? And what do I want to be doing? And I'm like, wow, this feels really good that I can like look at myself like this and not have to think about, okay, well, I do want these things in life, but my partner wants this. So where's the compromise? No, I get to decide what I want and I get to find someone who falls into that.
Slay. I support it. I'm happy for you.
Anyway, yes, we love it.
Okay. Any other disclaimers before we jump into some of our topics? I don't even know what our topics are.
I don't even know.
I have a list.
Pull them up. I feel like you're going to say the first one and I'm going to be mad.
Yeah, obviously the first one I was kind of going off while writing the notes too. Okay. The idea that you're supposed to spend so much time and money on people that are in relationships or choosing to have kids, but no one spends time or money on you when you're single.
I could go off about this one. I could go off. Okay, so let me preface this by saying, relationship things aside, because I feel like I could go down a spiral of both sides of that. Let me start with the kids thing.
Okay.
I don't want kids in life. It's not something that's on my 5, 10, 15-year agenda. It's not something that I want. I've never had the desire to be a mom. I've never had the desire to be pregnant or reproduce like my own. I don't care. I don't want it. That's not what I want in life. I am expected to go to every single baby shower, every single sprinkle, because apparently a shower for your first kid isn't enough these days. Every single sprinkle. Give up every single Sunday in the spring, summer, and fall to come sit at your shower and give you gifts. Then I gotta bring a gift to the sip and see. When you first have your kid.
What the hell is a sip and see?
When you have the baby, people invite you over because like now we can all drink and you can see the baby. Now I gotta bring a gift to your kid's first birthday party. Oh, you know,
the first Holy Communion.
The first Holy
baptism. Oh wait, first Holy Communion.
Yeah, you know, the baptism.
I'm jumping 8 years.
I give up so much of my life to like go to all of these things. And I'm not saying I don't want to do these things. If you are like my close friend and you're becoming a mom or a dad, I'm excited for you. I truly am. And I'm truly so happy for you. But just remember one day when I ask you to do one thing with me, oh, I can't because I can't get a babysitter. I have a kid, this, that, the other. I showed up for your kid. You can show up for me at some point.
One time.
And
especially like, what do single people have throughout the year? You have one birthday and maybe you have other things that you're celebrating, like a work thing or like, I don't know, we did like a holiday party for the podcast last year. Like, okay, those are fun things. Like you can't come to one birthday party after all the shit that I gave to you.
Yeah, right. And then, if you want to talk about the relationship aspect of it, I get it. You could argue both sides where, okay, so I can sit here and say, I show up for your shower, your engagement party, your bachelorette party, your wedding, and then
wedding shower.
Right. And then not only your wedding, but I am paying for a hotel for the weekend for your wedding gift. I'm buying an outfit for the wedding. If I'm in your wedding, I'm paying for hair, makeup, dress. And then, well, this is another conversation, but should I be so blessed to get a +1? I'm paying for their aspect and their plate. And I'm not saying it's a bad thing that I'm paying for these things. But listen, I know weddings cost you a lot of money, but it cost me a hell of a lot of money too. Okay. You planned this party and you invited me and I'm grateful and I want to come, but don't think that it's just like no skin off my back to come to this either, because I'm traveling, I'm giving up a weekend. And guess what? When you have a big family and a lot of friends, I'm giving up every single weekend to go to every single shower, every single wedding, every single bachelorette. Can I breathe? Can I stay home with my puppy for one weekend and like maybe watch Goosebumps on Disney Plus? Like, can I just have one weekend, please? I hate making this argument because I know that someone somewhere is sitting there saying, your time's gonna come, like we're all gonna show up for you too. And I get it. And I know that time is gonna come, but it's very hard when from like 26 to 29, every single person in my life was getting married at the exact same time. And I'm just dishing out the money and I'm trying to be the responsible adult here and put it off until I can afford it. Mm-hmm. I'm not trying to rush into anything. Like, I'm not trying to pay for a wedding right now. And like, if you're the responsible adult that found your person and you can afford it right now, that's congrats. But like, you're still expecting a lot out of me. Okay?
It's also not even like the money side of it. That is a big side of it, but also the time. Like,
that's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, there is so much that goes into it. And I get the point of like, oh, your time will come and like, we'll be there for yours. But also I have heard so many situations where when you're like the last 3 in the friend group,
doesn't happen.
They don't go to yours.
I know.
Like, oh, well, I have the husband and he can't take care of the house and I can't go to your bachelorette and like I have all the kids and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, yeah, I get that. Yeah, now you have 3 kids and you can't come to my bachelorette. Why do you think I was asking you to come to every single birthday party I've had for the past 10 years? Because I knew this was going to happen. Yeah. I knew that you're 100%. All these steps ahead and you can't even give me the time to come to one thing a year when you know how life works. Like, you have to be realistic, but like people don't think like that because they're just like telling themselves like, well, I'll go to the next one. Like, I'll go to the thing that's more important. Like, the wedding's going to be more important than her 30th birthday. And it's like, well, yeah, but you don't even know it. You don't know what life is going to be like. If you can make it work now, then you should. should. If you care about your friends.
I agree. Well, and it's like I'm already watching it happen. People are already dropping off. The first person to get married in my life, like, well, I don't even know, you know, I mean, the first person that got married in my life, I was probably like 4 because we have a shit ton of older cousins. But like in my adult friend group, like I'm already watching it happen. The first couple people to get married already had kids and fell off the wagon. They already don't come to weddings, showers, like group events. If that's happening now and the rest of my friends just got married. And here's the thing, like I'm also not in a rush to do anything. Like let's say I meet someone today. I'm in a relationship tomorrow. Let's just say I still don't want to get married for the next 3 years.
I think about that all the time.
No rush. So that's 3 more years that I'm giving all of my friends to have kids.
Yeah.
And then here's the thing too. If I got a hotel room for every single one of these weddings that I went to, I stayed overnight, I did X, Y, and Z. Even if you come to my wedding, I know you're not coming to the after party. You're not coming to the brunch the next morning because you got to get a sitter. And I get it. That's what you chose in life and that's not my cup of tea. But just remember that down the road when I asked you to come on my 30th birthday party trip and you couldn't do it because, I had a wedding this year. And I mean, I'm just trying to think of an excuse or like, I had a wedding last year. Or like,
or no, I can't swing it. I don't want to go. Yeah. Just no excuse, no like reason other than like, it's not in the cards for me.
Yeah.
Like,
it's not in the cards. And okay, that's great. Like, I'm sorry that it's not in the cards and that sucks. But like when I do get married 5-6 years from now, something else is going to be the reason it's not in the cards. And it's going to be like, I wish we had done all this before we had kids. Well, I invited you.
Yeah. Oh.
I invited you before you had kids. You didn't show up then either.
Yeah. I don't want to make it seem like we're just like grilling people for not doing
you for getting married and having kids.
Yeah,
like no, it's not.
I was also gonna say just not going to stuff. Like it's fine if you don't want to go on your friend's birthday trip. That's fine. But I think it's interesting to look at the comparison of if it is a person that's engagement party, wedding process, every event that goes into a wedding, you are expected to say yes to every single thing. And if you say no, socially, you have to have a good reason.
Excuse, yeah.
Because why aren't you going to the bachelorette, the shower, or whatever the hell, when it's like you can't go to the shower unless you have another wedding, have a work event, or you're on vacation. Like it's not just, I just want to go down the shore this weekend with my friends.
Yeah.
Like, you have to have a good reason. Yeah. But then if it's your friend's 30th birthday or any birthday or anything else that matters, it's just, I'm sorry, I'm not going to make it. The expectation is just not fair. Like it's just, you can ask for anything almost anything. When you are engaged and planning your wedding, you can ask so much of people, come to so many things, and you have a reason to get upset. You're just granted a reason to be upset. Yeah. But then when you're not married, and some people never get married. Some people also are in relationships and they still are never married. Like, what if you just don't want to get married? So now if I'm a person that I just don't want to get married in life, I just want to have my partner, have our home, have a family maybe, but I don't want the government to sign a marriage license for me. I never get to ask for anything. I never get to request a friend's trip. I never get to have a big party that guaranteed all of my friends are going to. And everyone's going to be like, well, yeah, that's just how it works. Why? Why does it work like that?
Why? Yeah.
Why do we just grant weddings this like free pass? It's you can have whatever you want, whenever you want. But then when your single friends ask you for one thing a year, it's like, I just can't make it. It's not in the cards.
Right.
You should still want to be there for your friends just because they don't have a ring on their finger.
Yep.
Why is it the wedding and the engagement? Like, and then also sometimes people are single and they really want to find their person and they are so sad. Maybe they're not kicking rocks every day because they're single, but deep down they're like, you know what? I am a human and I really want to find a deep connection. I want to find a person to spend my life with. Yeah. And they just can't find it. If you're married or engaged or you're dating your person that you want to spend your life with and that you will spend your life with, you are really lucky. You are so lucky that you just happen to find that person.
Friend.
Yeah.
You have to show up for that friend.
And it's not fair that just because you haven't found the person that you're going to spend your life with and you haven't found your soulmate here on earth yet, you are now expected to be alone, never have your friends guaranteed be at your party.
Yep.
But then when you have that person, when you were just lucky enough to have found them before somebody else, your friends are 100% expected to be at your party.
Right.
Like that's just not fair. Like, think about it from a single person's perspective when they give so much to you. And I'm not even single, so like, I'm trying to be unbiased, but like, your single friends gave so much to you, and they will continue probably because they don't have all these excuses that you have that are just granted to you once you have like a ring on your finger or kids like in your home or like whatever the hell. Think about it from their perspective.
Right.
They deserve to have their friends show up for them the same way you do.
Yeah.
Even though they are single, even though they haven't found their person yet.
Right.
Okay. There was my rant.
No, I agree. And I don't want this to sound like we're like bashing anyone either, because my friends pretty much do show up. We have this ongoing joke because I always want to go away for my birthday because it's in January and it's cold and we're warm weather people. So we just kind of use it as an excuse to get away, get out of the house. Like whether it's, even if it's just up the Poconos and we sit by a fire, we're all together like somewhere warm. Sometimes it's Vegas. I know that's not everyone's cup of tea. The first couple years that we did these trips, no, not even, because I was in a relationship the first couple years. In the middle years of doing these trips, I was single, and there happened to be a year or two that everyone that went on these trips was single. So we like joked, oh, it's a singles trip. Last year, it happened that I was the only single person on this trip. Every single person on the trip was in a relationship and ended up bringing their significant other. And
is that me?
You were in a relationship though.
Yeah, but I didn't bring my significant other because I'm independent.
Right. Well, of course. But like, let me, defend my friends here. They all did show up for me, and I'm so grateful for them. And there was no excuses tossed around like, oh, well, I would have to leave no, they can come. Everyone's invited. And guess what? This isn't a wedding where I'm like, oh, no ring on your finger, you don't get a +1. Because you're using your own money, your own time, your own resources, your own energy to show up for me. So I'm not going to be like, oh, they can't come. Why would they get to come on my trip that I planned?
It's my trip.
It's literally my trip.
I don't want a stranger that I've only met once at my trip.
Right.
I don't even want to look at a stranger on my birthday trip, so I'm not giving adults a +1.
Anyway, no, my friends do show up for me, but it's just you do have to think about these different people's perspectives. Like, just because I haven't found my person and I'm not rushing into anything doesn't mean that you shouldn't show up for me when I show up for you. And when my time does come, it's going to be a completely different ball game. So just think of that.
Yeah. Okay, that was good. That was a good rant. Okay, this is on a similar wavelength, but a little more superficial. So it's like, I kind of included this as a joke, but I kind of didn't. You are not allowed to ask for anything if you're single. If you ask for birthday gifts, you're selfish. But if you make a registry for your wedding, your shower, your baby shower, it's tradition.
Yeah.
Like, why can't you make a registry for your birthday?
Right. Or just like even a housewarming. Like if you just bought a house and it's like, well, here's my registry. People would literally look at that and be like, but you just want gifts?
Yeah, you just think you bought a house, so we should buy you gifts.
It?
Well, I just put a ring on my finger, so yeah, you should furnish my home. Like, make it make sense.
I don't know.
Stupid.
I know.
If you want your home to be furnished for free,
you got to put a ring on it.
Just get engaged.
Plan a baby.
Plan a fake wedding, and then have these people furnish your home, and then get married or don't get married, but it's acceptable because there's a ring on your finger.
Totally.
Okay, this is kind of off. Oh, you know what? I'll just keep the rant going. I'm going to skip to one that's just, I have also seen other people talking about this. Couples automatically getting the best room on a group trip. Just because you're in a relationship, you should just get the master suite. You should just get the suite with the bathroom attached with the jacuzzi tub. Like, no. And you know what? If I was in I'm in a relationship, but if I was on a group trip in a relationship, I would not just be assuming that the best room is mine or that I just don't have to share a room. And it's not that they're saying it, at least in my experience, it's not that couples are like, I want to sleep here, but it's like everyone just acts as if, oh, well, they will sleep in that room because they're dating, and we will just share the bunk bedroom with 18 people, the 9 bunk beds for 18 people. Like, wait, so just because you happen to have a boyfriend, you get the privacy of having how about you and your boyfriend split up? He's on the top, you're on the bottom, and you shut the hell up for the weekend. And whoever booked this whole entire trip and just spent the last 4 months planning it, they can get the master with the ensuite bathroom.
Another side note of that, so say you get a house with all of your friends. Kelly and I share the master room. Well, this has happened. This is like real life. Kelly and I share the master room. There's a whole shower, sink, toilet, bathroom in there. There's 15 of us in the house. Someone else needs to use that shower, sink, toilet. Okay? Someone else in the house needs to use it. And if Kelly and I are in that room, all the girlies are going to go use it. We're all all going to do our makeup in there. We're all going to get dressed, whatever. If there's a couple in there by themselves with the door shut, ain't no one knocking like, can I use your shower after the pool?
That's so true.
No one's going to go in and share that bathroom. But if it's just friends, you will.
That is so
stop being a
true.
bathroom whore just because you're in a relationship.
Yeah, that is so true. So true.
Yeah.
People can make their kids their entire personality, but if I make not having kids a personality, it's rude and disrespectful.
Wait, no, I said this because I've been seeing this on Instagram. I've been seeing a girl who made an Instagram page like My Adult Childless Life. She made this page to make a point that you can be happy and choose not to have kids and like live this adult life and be fulfilled without children. People rip her apart. People show up on her page, find a video, go into the comments, scroll, click their little fat thumbs and go, oh my God, like just because you don't have kids doesn't mean you have to hate on life with children. Like, blah, blah, and they rip her apart. And I'm like, she's not showing up on your page like, oh my God, just because you gave birth to a fat, chunky thing that's got extra skin on its body and it looks like a little alien doesn't mean you have to make it your entire life. No, she doesn't give a fuck about your kid. She doesn't give a shit about what you're doing with this little child in the delivery room and like pushing her on a stroller, whatever you do with your little smelly diapers. She doesn't give a shit about that. She's posting about this page to show that you can be happy without that. And people love to show up and rip her apart. She's not showing up on anyone's page being like, why'd you make that kid your entire personality? She doesn't care. She's happy off living her own thing. Like they can't agree that there's two or more correct ways to do life. You have a kid or you don't. To them, the correct thing to do was to get married and have a kid.
Yeah.
And that just like baffles me because that's great for everyone who's done it. Like, I'm sure that everyone in my life, at least that I know of, that has gotten married and have kids is happy. Their life is fulfilled. Like, that's all they've wanted. And like, truly, my heart is so full for them. Like, you found your person and you got married. Like, congratulations. Like, genuinely. Like, that's amazing. You had a kid and all you've wanted your whole life is to be a mom. That's amazing. Congrats. All I've wanted my whole life is to drink champagne under the Eiffel Tower. And I've done it. So where's my congrats?
That's so true.
I don't need to pop off and like, you know, have a ring on. And
you don't need to pop off anything other than corks.
Other than the cork on the bottle, for real. And like, here's my example. I remember my actually not even 10, my 5-year high school reunion.
You went?
No, I didn't go.
Oh my God. It was like,
I had friends who were like, I am not going unless I have a ring on my finger.
That is fucking embarrassing.
I had friends that said that.
Sorry. A ring on your finger? As if that would...
Right. They're like, I want to be engaged.
No, it's actually more embarrassing to be engaged.
No, like...
kidding. But why is it kind of? But it's not.
Anyway, I will not go if I don't have a ring on my finger. I was like, really? That's kind of crazy because I won't go unless I have like a 4th college degree and like a shit ton of money in my bank account, not my conjoined bank account. And like, I've already seen the world around twice in 80 days. Like, and again, everyone's cup of tea. But it's just crazy to me that there is this standard and we're expected to like, oh my God, I love your kid. And like, it really is your whole life, like your whole personality. But I opted not to have kids. And it's like, oh my God, what is she compensating for by like traveling the world and being obsessed with her puppy? And yes, my dog is my personality, but that's weird because I'm not a mom. And it's only okay for you to do it as a mom.
Wait, can I clarify that it's not embarrassing to be engaged? Okay. But it's embarrassing.
When your day comes, we're going to sit here like that ring is humiliating.
No, but it's embarrassing to think that is what signifies success.
Success, yes.
Yeah. Going there and being like, yeah, I'm engaged. It's like, and I mean, it's great. It's exciting, but it doesn't mean that you're successful in life. And not having found your person doesn't mean that you aren't successful in life.
You are not a failure just because you don't have a ring on your finger. You're a failure because all you have is a ring on finger. No, I'm just kidding.
I mean,
if that's some people want to be stay-at-home moms and trophy wives. I mean, hey, like if I had $1 trillion and I didn't have to work, I'd probably still work because I like taking care of people and I like what I do.
I would not.
To an extent.
If a friend got married and they sent out invitations and friend A responded with, I'm so sorry I can't make it because I have 2 kids, they would say, oh, you know what? She has 2 kids. She's doing her thing. If friend B responded and said, oh, you know, I just decided I'm going to book a trip for that weekend instead of going to your wedding, they would be like, wait, what? Like, you're really going to just travel instead of coming to my wedding? When nobody would say, oh, what? You're really just going to care for your children? Because traveling for yourself is considered selfish, while caring for your own kids is not considered selfish. And I'm not saying either of them are or either of them aren't. Having children is not selfish, but living your life and making decisions for you isn't really selfish either.
Right.
You are expected to never get mad at anyone for using the mom card, while you can socially, it is acceptable to be mad at someone for any other reason. I guess it comes from that point.
Right,
it's like, just because they're a mom, I can never be annoyed. I can never be upset. I can never be mad at them for choosing that. But I can, in theory, be mad about just about anything else.
Yeah. I think you could look at it like this. You chose to be a mom and have kids. I chose to not be a mom so that I can see the world. We both are being asked to give up a weekend for someone's event, someone's wedding. You can't do it because you decided to be a mom and have kids. I am expected to do it because I didn't choose to become a mom and have kids. So now I'm expected to just drop what I'm doing and change my life plans, when I didn't do this for you, just like they didn't do this for you. You know what I mean? Like, they weren't thinking about your future when they had kids, just like none of our friends who show up right now are thinking about my future when they're getting married and having kids.
Yeah.
So show up when you can, but also, like, just because someone else has a better excuse than I do doesn't mean that you're entitled to anything from me either.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. It's like, from the person whose event it is, it's from their perspective that, like, society basically tells them what they're allowed to be mad about and what they just have to accept.
Right.
And if your friend has kids, you are supposed to accept that 100% of the time and never be upset. Whereas, if it's literally anything else, you can be mad at anything else.
Yeah.
Like, you're allowed to be upset about just about anything else.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on. This is just like a tip of advice for people that have found their person and have single friends as like an adult. Or I would say this really kicks in, and people actually seem to mean it, between late 20s and early 30s. Don't tell your friend you'll meet someone when the time is right, or it'll happen when you least expect it. Don't tell your single friends that when they tell you they're sad about being single.
Why?
That is such an easy thing to say when you are happily in a relationship or married off to the love of your life that you met, especially if you met when you were younger and you have absolutely no experience dating. Like, if you found your person when you were in high school or college, or like right out of college, and you never had to spend 10 years in the dating field and know what it's like to date a bunch of people and have your heart broken and find your person, but then find out that, oh, they're actually not my person, and go on countless dates and deal with dating apps and deal with meeting people that are terrible to you and lie to you and manipulate you. It is so easy to sit there and be like, well, you'll find your person when the time is right. Shut the fuck up. How about you say, I'm so sorry. That fucking sucks.
Or we're here for you.
Exactly.
We're here for you until you find your person, and we'll be there when you find them.
Exactly. It's just so annoying, because also that's the only thing that people say because they think that that is going to be helpful. And it's like, well, yeah,
it's
but
consolation.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I've been single for 10 years. So excuse me for feeling like the time is never going to be right.
Right.
And
or like the time's going to be right. Well, like, okay, so what the hell was going on for the last 10 years that the time wasn't right? Like, you know my life.
Yeah. It's just like not a helpful thing to say from someone who has been in a relationship for a long time and just can't relate to the feeling. Like, I could see it with, like, people are both single and they're in it together and like, you know what? Our time is coming, you know? Yeah. But just to be like, oh, well, don't be sad. It'll happen when you least expect it. It'll happen when the time's right. It's like, well, that's really, really easy to say. It's all worked out for you.
Right.
So you think you have the knowledge and like the foundation to be able to just grant that advice to people, when you know what? It actually doesn't work out like that for some people.
Yeah.
Some people actually never even find their partner. What do you say to your friend when she's 45 and still hasn't met the person? It'll happen when your time is right. Like, shut the fuck up. Okay. Just give your friends sympathy if they're going through a hard time.
Yeah.
And if they're single and they're sad about being single. Like, I just hate the like, well, don't be sad. Like, you have to be happy and then it'll come to you. Like, sometimes you're sad in life.
Yeah.
It's okay. It just pisses me off.
Yeah. I think single or in a relationship, regardless, like, you just have to show up for your friend that is single or in a relationship and is unhappy too. You just got to be there for that person. Anyway, continue.
congratulate me when I meet my goals, even though they're different than yours.
I feel like I already did this spiel.
Yeah, you kind of said something similar.
But yeah, I mean, your goals in life are to get married and have kids and like have a white picket fence and a little golden retriever and...
Hey, don't hate on golden retrievers.
And a little whatever you have and like live your
golden doodle.
Your golden doodle, yeah. Your fairy tale life, when like my dreams in life are to have a golden retriever, which I do, but to see the world and to relax and read every book there is and not have to change a dirty diaper or like spend my Saturday mornings at soccer tournaments. Like, I'm going to be there when you get married and I'm going to cry tears of happiness and I'm going to be so happy for you and I'm going to write congratulations on every bachelorette, shower, engagement, wedding card that I give you. And I'm going to mean it. And I do mean it. There's going to come a day where like I'm going to stand outside of that delivery room and I'm going to hold your baby and I'm going to cry tears of joy and I'm going to say congratulations. But because that's not my life plan, people are never going to congratulate me.
Yeah.
I want to see the world. Congratulate me when I see the place, then I check something off my bucket list. I want to make an insane career for myself. Congratulate me with every single class that I complete for every single degree that I complete. Okay? All I've wanted, and I don't want to be a mom. I've wanted a golden retriever since the day I was born. 29 years old, I got that for myself. And a lot of people did show up for me. A lot of people were like, Erin, this is literally all you've wanted in life.
They came over the day.
They came
the
to meet
day.
the baby. Yeah. And that's how supportive some of my friends are. And I am truly grateful for that. But there are also going to be a lot of people that are like, it's a dog. Like, why are you so excited? Well, so the fuck's your little child. Why are you so excited about that? All it does is poop and burp.
Yeah, I do think that's
But it's just, we want different things in
Yeah.
life. So the way I show up in true, pure bliss for you, I need you to also do for me. When
Yeah.
I meet my goals.
I feel like that's a good distinction because in the beginning when we were like, I have to go to your wedding, I have to go to all your shit. It's not that I don't want to.
Yes.
I do want to. And I do mean it when I say congratulations, but I would just love the same support for me for something that's not my wedding.
Right.
Like just because I'm not having a wedding doesn't mean I shouldn't still get the support, the congratulations,
Yeah.
my friends showing up for me,
Right.
etc.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we're not bitter about having to be there for our friends.
Right.
It's just you sometimes get bitter when
You're there for your friends and they're not there for you.
Yeah, exactly.
And then that's where it's like, that's where people are going to argue. Your time will come and they'll be there for you.
Exactly.
And I hope so. And I hope they are. But their timeline's different. So there's a chance that they won't be. There's a chance.
Yeah. Okay, that was all of our main points to rant about. And then there was a few situations that we can read if you want.
Yes.
Okay.
Lay 'em on me.
Okay. Oh, this was 2 pieces of advice that I wrote down. I feel like you'll agree with this. Ask people what's good in their life outside of relationships. That's just always...
This hits.
Yeah, I just think that's always something positive to do. Whether you're single or not, your relationship really shouldn't be the only happy thing in your life.
Let me speak to this from experience. I was in a long relationship. Every time I showed up to a family function, a birthday party, a friend's whatever. Hey, Erin, how's so-and-so? He's good. Thanks for asking. Oh, good. You guys are doing well? Yep. Awesome. Now when I show up, Erin, how was your trip to Paris?
Yeah.
Erin, how was your birthday trip? Erin, how's your puppy doing? How's school? How's work? Thank you for asking. I wish you would have asked me 5 years ago.
Yeah, I specifically remember being at a family party when I was single and there was 2 cousins at the table that were in relationships, and my uncle, who is an amazing person and is great and very supportive, and they definitely didn't mean to do this, but came over and it was like one of those like uncle things where they're just checking in real quick, pointed at one person and said, how's Sean? They're like, good, moved on. How's Patrick? Good, moved on. Pointed at me. Boyfriend? I said no. Pointed at the 4th cousin. Boyfriend? No. Nice. All right. Just checking in. Walks away. I'm like, wait, so
you don't care about what's going on in my life?
Yeah. All you care is if I have a boyfriend, if she has a boyfriend, and how her boyfriend is and how her boyfriend is. What? Like, why do you even fucking care also? Why do you care about our boyfriends? Like,
what about me? I'm your niece.
I know.
I'm literally your blood relative. What about me?
Yeah, exactly.
No, I know. I had similar situation when I first got to college and I was single and happy and like living my best college freshman life. I came home at Christmas and and a different uncle asked me, how's school? And I lit up like a firecracker and was like, it's amazing. Like, I love it. It's just like, it's so fun. Like, I'm so glad I'm in college. And you know what he says to me? Oh, so I take it you met someone.
Oh my God. That's
yeah,
horrible.
I did. I met 15 girls in my dorm that to this day are still my best friends. I did. I met 15 people.
That's crazy.
But the fact that like, because I lit up and I was so purely happy with my life, had to be about a man.
Yeah.
That's not what everyone wants in life.
That's crazy.
I know.
It's just so annoying too. And I get it, because I get that when someone's dating someone, it's like a little more exciting than if you just make a new friend, because you have a ton of friends, but you only have one boyfriend typically or girlfriend. But it's just annoying when that's the only thing you ask your loved ones about. And if they don't have the significant other, you move on from them so fast. And that happened to me so many times at family parties over the years when it was like boyfriend and I say no. And then they move on to the next cousin who has a boyfriend and they get the 10-minute conversation. And it's like, well, so you just do not take me seriously and you don't care to ask about me and ask about my life because I don't have a boyfriend. Like, why?
It's wild.
Why
it's
is
wild.
it freaking weird? It's just so weird.
It is wild. It is wild.
Yeah. And I can't say that I've never asked people about boyfriends or girlfriends. Like, it's like a very human thing to ask, like, oh, dating anyone? Like, give me the tea. Like, it's very,
of course.
It's fun. But if they were to say no, I would be like, oh, and you? Like, you can't just move on from them. They have other things in their life going on other than this potential boyfriend or lack of boyfriend.
Right. Like, I care about you, so I'm asking if you're in a relationship the same way I'm going to ask, like, what's new? Where are you living? Like, if I only see you at Christmas.
Yeah.
Like, where are you living? Who are you? Friends, roommates? Like, what's your life like? Do you got a puppy? Congrats. Like, I care that you're in a relationship as much as I care about everything else in your life.
Yeah.
It's not the only thing I care about.
Yeah. And I do feel like I used to do that or like fall into the trap of asking people about their relationships and just being like, oh, and how'd you meet? And this, and do you live together? And where do you guys hang out? And all about the relationship. And because I've witnessed it as a single person and seen like how it's so annoying. And it's like, it's not even that I want people to ask about me. Honestly, if you don't ask about me, like that will make my life easier. I don't have to sit there and talk. Like I can just listen and sit back. But I can see how frustrating it would be if you're like, cool, nobody gives a shit about me because I'm single. So I have actively been trying to ask people when I see them after a long time, like, what do you like outside of that? What do you like outside of work? What are you into? Because it feels so much better when you get to talk about passions that don't involve a romantic relationship.
Yeah. It is funny too that it's just like the standard. Like I've gone to a couple weddings recently where like, well, you know, different conversation where I didn't have a plus one. And people have said to me like at cocktail hour, like, oh, flying solo. Well, first of all, I didn't have a choice.
Yeah. Right? Like,
and second of all, yeah, I am. Why'd you bring it up?
Yeah.
Like literally why?
Wait, Erin sent us a reel in an Instagram DM recently that was like, the next time people at my family party say, so when are you going to get married? I'm going to say, well, when are you going to get divorced? And it's like that boom sound with like the music that's like, huh?
Literally, when are you going to get divorced? No,
Yeah,
I saw
really.
one that was like, when are you going to get married or when are you going to start dating? And the girl was like, when you get divorced, I'm going to take your man. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah, I think that's the same one that I'm thinking of.
Because all the good ones are taken.
No, you should start hitting on their husband. No, how about I'm waiting for someone so I don't have to deal with all the shit you're doing?
Yeah, that's true too.
Just kidding. I know some people are happy.
Some of them.
Okay, also, this is another piece of advice that I wrote down because I was thinking about the group trip thing. And I think this is from both perspectives, whether you're single and planning a trip or you're in a relationship and planning a trip, and you have to think about your friends that you're inviting.
Yes.
You need to be very honest about plans and what the vibes will be at those plans. I guess that's true whether it's a trip or just normal hangout at home.
Yeah.
Whether you're single or in a relationship, you need to decide if this is a couples thing or not well beforehand, or if someone is going to be uncomfortable. And don't just say, yeah, it's all couples, but we're not like that. You won't be the fifth wheel. You won't be the seventh wheel. You know that in most situations, if there are 4 couples going to something and 1 single person, it is going to be a couples trip. Regardless of how hard you want to try and like include them in things, unless like the girls are staying together and the boys are staying together, it's extremely hard, especially when you start drinking and you pair off and you just want to like love on your person person and everyone else is doing the same. I just think, to be fair to your friends, you need to tell your single friends if it's going to be all couples.
I agree with you to an extent.
Okay.
Because I prefaced this whole episode with like, I'm very happy single and I'm happy with myself and I can go to things by myself, just as I was in a relationship. And when I was in a relationship and I would plan trips and my boyfriend would be on the group trip, and so would some of my single friends and some of my not single friends would come together, whatever. I never, and this, I guess, like to an extent, like there was always like, you know, an even number of singles and not singles. So it was never like one or the other. But as a now happily and comfortable single person, I don't also want to miss out on spending time with my friends just because I'm single and no one else is. If all of my friends are going on a trip somewhere, am I going to be the only single one? Like, yeah, like that. Sure, to an extent, like it would kind of suck because of the reasons you just said. But should I miss out on an incredible experience with my friends just because I don't have a plus one?
I'm not saying don't go, and I'm not saying don't invite single people. I'm saying be honest about what the vibe on the trip is going to be, and try not to just over encourage your nervous single friends to please come on the trip. It's not going to be coupley. I promise I'll include you. You need to be honest. You need to be like, you know what? You're right.
I guess.
A lot of the people on the trip are in couples, and there might be one, maybe two people that are going to be single, and I want to be honest about that.
Okay.
I'm not saying don't go. You should definitely go if you want to.
Yeah.
But I just think be honest about the vibes.
Yeah. But I think at the same time, you have to include your friends too. Like,
100%.
I don't know. Like, I feel like when I was in a relationship, I was always like, everyone's invited, couple or not, significant other is invited, whatever. I don't care. Like, everyone's invited because I love everyone in my life and I want everyone there. As a single person, like, we joked that some of my birthday trips were single. Oh, it's a singles trip. But the second people started getting into relationships and they were like, oh, I don't know, can Joe Schmo come? Like, sure. I am by no means going to put my foot down and be like, this is supposed to be a singles trip. Just as when I was in a relationship, it was never, oh, well, my boyfriend's coming, so I think maybe we should just do couples. I'm just like, let's just not discriminate. Let's just invite everyone we love.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. I just think that like when you're happily in a relationship, you have a different perspective on things than someone who's been single for years and years and years and like low-key wants to be in a relationship. And maybe if you know it's your best friend and they want to be in a relationship, maybe that's when you're like, you know what? Yeah, I do think that you might not thrive as much on this trip, but obviously I want you to go. But I just think like it seems like the nice thing to be like, please go. It won't be coupley. We'll be girls trips and the guys and they're going to go off. We're going to go off. Like at the end of the day, there are going to be moments. I started this whole thing with this is true for trips and plans at home. Maybe it's not as true for plans at home. Like most people can withstand a few hours with their friends that are in couples, but more like if you're going away for 5 days and it's like all couples and one single friend, like there is going to be a lot of times where you are going to be with your default person and 4 other people are going to be with their default person.
Yeah, totally.
And there's going to be this one outlier, and regardless of how good of a friend you want to be to them, it's going to be different for them.
Totally.
And I just think you should be honest about that. And I think that that is actually the nicer thing to do rather than like hyping it up and I'm going to be there for you every single second, because naturally it's just going to happen that you're going to be off showering and this person's going to be alone. Like
you're right. I guess like just the way you said it, I was like, okay, but don't just like be like, oh, well, it's a couples thing and my single friend's going to be uncomfortable, so we're not going to do this.
Yeah.
Include them, just be honest with them. But
absolutely.
no reason to be, I don't know.
Yeah.
I know, but I also do genuinely have both perspectives because I've been single long in my adult life, just as I've been in a relationship long in my adult life. So I really do truly see both sides of it. So I guess that's why it's easier for me to sit here and say, well, don't not include me just because I don't have a plus one. Like I still want to be with my friends because I've been there. So I get it. But okay.
Yeah.
All right. We'll just be more open and honest.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I have a bunch of situations that are like more specific, but they kind of all revolve around all the things we just talked about. And I don't think we're going to be able to get to all of them on this episode. So I'm thinking maybe we do one and then we could continue.
Part 2?
Yeah. Like with specific situations. So what do you want to talk about? I'm sad that I'm single.
No.
My best friend will only go out with me if her boyfriend comes. Is it so wrong to only want single friends? Why do the single friends get left behind? Is it embarrassing to be the single friend?
Let's do why do the single friends get left behind?
Okay.
Because I feel like that does happen. And like that's kind of what I was just thinking, what your point was with like the group trip, like where you were like, oh, well, the single person's going to be so like, but in my mind, I was like, well, don't leave them behind either.
Right.
So that's just because that's fresh on my mind.
Yeah. Why do the single friends get left behind. A majority of my friends are in relationships right now. As the single friend, I feel like I'm not given much thought anymore. Obviously, I understand it takes time and effort, and it's super exciting when you start a new romantic relationship, but I've never been the type of person to ditch my friends when I have a significant other, especially if they're still single. Friendships are an important priority to me, but I don't feel like a lot of other people see it that way. I'm the one reaching out for plans. If I don't initiate, it doesn't happen. I stop hearing from them as often. I'm getting left out of plans because they want to double date, and I just feel like a last resort option in everyone's lives. We're all adults, and it's tough to make plans as it is with everyone working, but I'm really tired of people disappearing once a new boyfriend or girlfriend appears. Is this just how it is?
Yeah.
Ew, it's so annoying because, like, yeah, kind of. Yeah. It is just how it is.
I mean, everything she said is so accurate. Like, when I was the one in the relationship, like, I still prioritize seeing my friends. Like, it's kind of the stuff that I was just saying. And now I'm at a point in my life where most of my friends, with the exception of like 3 or 4, are in serious relationships. And I see it. I totally see it happening. And unfortunately, it is what it is.
Yeah, I think that this whole situation starts with us. And when you're the single friend and it's happening to you, it's too late. Because you kind of need to see it. Like, it's not on her to solve this. And she kind of can't. Like, it has to be the people in the relationships that hear the story. And it's like that comment I always see on TikTok, the algorithm feeds you content and you're like, wait, put this on their feed. Like, we need to put this on the feeds of the people that are in relationships, not the people that are clicking on an episode called like single friend reparations or whatever it's called.
Right. Because it's the single friends that are going to listen to this and we're all on the same page.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
No, it's so true, because it's like we could sit here and talk until we're blue in the face about how like now I'm the single friend, and like I was so good about it when I was in a relationship. Like, I would say to my boyfriend, like, you need to go be with your friends just like I need to go be with mine. But now that I'm the single friend, like, I can't just sit here and expect the same. I can hope for the same, but I can't expect it.
Yeah.
And just as I was in a relationship 4 years ago, we're now at different levels in our relationships. Now all of my friends that are in relationships are engaged, married, or have kids. So although I was in a relationship where I could be like, all right, let's, do our own thing. Like, you go be with your friends, I'll go be with mine. It's not as simple anymore.
Yeah.
So,
and it's always that weird line too. I feel like we've talked about this before, where if it's like a boyfriend, it's like give or take if they're invited. But then when they're married, it's like 100% they're invited, unless it's like completely an all girls thing. Right. And that's also a weird line, because it's like, it does reach a certain point where I remember feeling this with one of my close friends. Once they got in this relationship that they were in for a long time and they lived together and they were like on the road to like engagement and marriage, I'm like, wait, so am I never gonna see you
without
again?
that person?
Without that person? Like, will it ever just be us, the two of us?
Sometimes no.
I know, and that's crazy. Like, that's like scary and sad. So I don't know. I do think if it's a close friend, you could say something like that to them and tell them straight up, like, I'm so happy for you that you're in a relationship, but I do miss the days where just you and I would hang out. Do you ever have time in your schedule for that? And like, ask them to come back to you. Like, don't like guilt trip them. You're always with the boyfriend. It's him. Be like, I miss you. Like, I miss hanging out with just us. Like, let's have a girls' night or a boys' night or whatever.
Yeah.
On the other side of that, I think when it comes to like the double dating thing, I especially think you need to cut people some slack. You don't need to, but you can try to, when it's their first relationship and it's like the two best friends just got boyfriends for the first time. They're like, double date. Like, they've never, but this is their first time living life too. Like, people get excited, people get caught up, but I do think you could say, if this is happening often with your close friends, I do think you could bring it up and be like, I'm totally excited that you are going on double dates. I wish I could be there. And sometimes it feels like if I found a boyfriend, maybe I would get the invite.
Right.
So I'm wondering if I could still get the invite even though I don't have a boyfriend yet.
That's like kind of what I was getting at with all the other stuff about like still include your person, because it's like that's the sad part. Like, just because I don't have a boyfriend, like I'm missing out on like a group outing or whatever it is. You know
this like date night and like couples night, couples party. Like, just because I haven't met my person yet, I now have to miss out on plans. So now I'm double sad, because I'm sad that I haven't found my soulmate yet. I want to find my soulmate just like you do. Yeah. And I want to be happy with my soulmate just like you are. But now I have to be sad that I don't have my soulmate and that I'm missing couples game night. Like, why do I have to face both? Right. Like, I should be allowed to go to the game night.
It all kind of just falls into like, just like for a perspective conversation, like whether or not you get a +1 to a wedding. It's like, oh, well, you're single, so you don't get a +1. But it's it's like, so now I have to be reminded at this wedding that I'm going to stand here by myself at cocktail hour when everyone around me got to bring their significant other and I wasn't even allowed to bring a friend to talk to. I'm just going to stand here like the outcast.
It's just so annoying when it comes to certain events where a default person or a date is standard. Obviously, the wedding is the number one example.
Sure.
Sometimes you could say like company parties where everyone gets to bring their significant other and whatever. So every single person there that happened to be lucky enough to find their person in life gets to have the default person. And just like missing the couple's game night, just because you aren't lucky enough to have met your soulmate by the time you're 25, you have to go to all the parties alone. And I expect you to come to my wedding alone and have fun alone just because you haven't found your boyfriend yet. Just because you haven't found your husband yet. You're going to be alone. Like, that's just not fair.
Well, and you know what? And I'll say this from experience because it's happened in my adult recent single life. I am literally the only person there by myself. By myself. I follow a couple here to the bar. I follow a couple there to the snacks. And I literally catch myself just like talking to my parents, aunts, cousins, friend. Because I'm literally standing there by myself. And like there have been weddings where I've been given +1s and I'm just like, oh, you know, it's not worth me taking someone. So I do I'm not saying that I'm always put in this situation. I have put myself in this situation, but other people do put me in this situation. There are people in my life that like, and I'm not talking like 3 years ago when my friend got married and like 7 of us were single. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about right now when 18 out of 19 of my first cousins are in relationships and I'm going to show up to the next however many events by myself and twiddle my thumbs and get a drink and sit at the bar and I don't know, maybe my parents will hang out with me. Because here's the thing, I'm going to follow one couple around like a lost puppy all night. Literally by myself.
And like thinking of it from the perspective of the single person, it's like, well, I don't want to have a stranger at my wedding. First of all, you're not even going to notice a stranger at your wedding. There's going to be wait staff, bartenders, wedding planners. There are going to be a lot of strangers at your wedding that you're not even going to notice.
And maybe if you keep not giving me a +1, the bartender at your wedding's not going to be a stranger so much longer. But and you're not going to get a +1 to me in the bartender's wedding.
True. But also just think about it from your friend's perspective. Okay, everyone, even if everyone there doesn't have a +1 or isn't in a relationship, if a small handful of people that aren't friends with each other or that are very independent, like maybe, I don't know. There's a million situations. But like if there are a small number of people that just don't have a boyfriend, like just think about it like this. They are now expected to be alone and have the same amount of fun as everyone that has a default person. It makes your life easier to have a default person. If you are in a relationship with someone that you can rely on and you are cohabitating and you are living life together as partners, your life is easier. It's been easier for me since I've been in a relationship. I have a default person. We always know that we can rely on each other. We go places together. I know how I'm getting there and who I'm going with and who I'm going home with. That's a privilege because I lived a long time where I didn't have that. And being alone and putting yourself out there all day and all night at this event is harder and it's less fun. I'm sorry. It's less fun to go to an event by yourself. And I think that people that are in relationships, it's really, really easy to sit there and say, well, there's a bunch of single friends, just like it's really, really easy to sit there and say, it'll happen when you least expect it. Stop assuming things about your single friends when you are in a long-term relationship. It's not fair to them. And it actually makes their life more difficult.
And it's really never that simple.
It's never that simple. Because now they have to travel to your wedding alone, get a hotel room alone. There's no splitting the cost. There's no carpooling together. There's no when should we leave. It's like you have to stress about when to go and when to go home. And you God,
I did it recently. We went to a wedding. I was by myself and I was begging Kelly and her boyfriend to leave. I was like, come on, like I want to go home, but like we're all going together because I didn't have a default person to come with.
It's just
and guess
not
what's
fair.
Gonna happen again.
It's just not fair. Like think about it from someone else's perspective and don't just make the decision for them. Like, oh, well, they'll have that random person's girlfriend who's in the wedding party. She'll be sitting alone during parts of the day. So like they can sit with her. Like, no. How about you ask your loved ones what would be easier for them?
And what would make them
you happy? How would you be comfortable at my wedding? Because it's a privilege to have you at my wedding. So how can I make you happy?
It is literally
how can I help you?
Privilege to have me at your wedding.
It really is.
So make it comfortable for me.
It really is though. It's just not fair. I think I've said it. Just think about it, okay? You're in a relationship.
Yep.
Okay? Think about it. Think about it.
And also, if you're single, stick to your ground. If you're I chose to travel and not have kids, don't let the Instagram trolls troll you.
Yeah, stand on business.
Let them go home to their smelly diapers.
Yeah.
You keep traveling, honey.
Also, this might be considered rude, but one of my friends got married recently, and at first I did not get a +1, and it was a wedding that I have to travel to. Like, it wasn't 5 minutes down the road. Mm-hmm. And I texted her and I asked if I could have a +1 and bring my boyfriend, and she texted me back and was like, yes, of course. So if you're sitting there stressing about it, I think you should ask. Yeah. And if you think it's going to make them uncomfortable, maybe they should think about how it will make you uncomfortable. Think about how uncomfortable you're going to be the entirety of the time that you're at their wedding, because it's probably the same feeling. And it's probably way easier for them to just be like, yeah, let's just add on an extra guest because 20 other people already said no, and then everyone's going to be happy. Yeah. And I don't think it's a big ask to ask if you can have a travel partner when you're traveling to someone's event.
Yeah, totally.
And obviously I was so grateful that my friend is a reasonable person and was like, yeah, of course you can bring your boyfriend. Like, she probably just didn't really think about it, or she probably made her guest list before we started dating, or I don't even know. Who knows? But sometimes you just need to ask and be honest about how you're feeling with your friends, because it's your loved ones and your friends whose weddings you're attending, and they should care about you enough to consider your feelings.
True.
Period.
Well, thanks for coming to our
podcast
and our court on single versus in a relationship.
Yeah. Thank you so much for listening to our podcast, and come back when we talk about more specific situations.
And listen to us rip it apart again.
Yeah, true. We love you. We appreciate you. And we'll see you in the next one.
Bye.